Welcome to Bridges to Alignment with Britt Bridges, Wellness Reimagined. This is a safe, transformative space where we explore energy healing, natural wellness, and the connection between mind, body, and soul. Through light, sound, and intention, you'll discover practical ways to align your energy, heal from within, and reconnect with your deepest self. This is your bridge to healing. This is your bridge to alignment.
Hello, and welcome to Bridges to Alignment, Wellness Reimagined. So happy to have you here, guys. Thank you for those that are returning. Love, love, love having you here, and your energy and presence is truly valued. So thank you, thank you. And to those that are new, welcome. Welcome to this healing container. It is a safe space for you to just get comfortable and to just be yourself and to really just take in this energy. And it truly is an activation. Every episode of this podcast is an activation and transmission for your highest and greatest good, because that is always what I set the intentions to be. And for those of you that are on the show often, you know how much I hold intentions on a pedestal, because intentions are truly everything, guys. Intentions are basically our thoughts, but putting extra energy and power behind them. So take note of that today, that as you are going through your day, to be more intentional. Even when you're getting in the shower, set intentions that this shower is going to cleanse my energetic field and uplift my frequency. Or setting intentions that when I get in the car, that I am going to be protected and that the path is going to be cleared for me, and all the destinations I arrive at, I'm going to face flow and positive energy. So those are some examples of setting intentions, but I always like to start this program with saying that this is a protected space and cleansed space. I've got my beautiful selenite here. If you don't know what selenite is, go and grab you some. There is a couple crystal spots downtown Frederick that you can go to and find selenite wands for very inexpensive, like $5. And they're really great for clearing your energetic field, your aura. All you do is you just kind of whip it around you like this, around your aura, comb the energy off of your auric field, and setting the intentions to cleanse your auric field or your magnetic field, whatever you prefer to call it, or your electrical body. But that's a good way to cleanse and clear your energetic field on a daily basis. And I even recommend doing it multiple times a day. If you're kind of feeling weighed down, or suddenly your mood shifts and you're like, this is strange, I wasn't feeling like this earlier. Well, it's possible that you could have picked up energetic cords or energy from other people around you, because, my friends, we are energy. We are pure scalar waves of light and sound. And I always love to bring my little illustration here of the body's electromagnetic field that is around us, as you can see here. And as you know, I mean, this is scientifically proven. This is not just woo-woo stuff, guys. We do have light and sound that are so tiny that are not visible by our eyeballs, which is so fascinating, because our eyeballs actually see 0.0093% of the electromagnetic spectrum of light. That's mind-blowing to me. That is a mind-blowing statistic, but it's true. We can't see most of the energy that is around us, but it exists, and we have machines that are able to pick up this imagery, such as X-rays, right? And the the night vision goggles that can pick up the infrared light that's coming out of our bodies. So this is like real energy that's coming out of our bodies that exists. So I want you to be mindful of that as you're going through the day and have that consciousness that I am a active energy system and that I am picking up on other people's energetic fields, because our energetic fields actually extend 3 to 6 feet out from our bodies, which means if you're living in the same household with somebody, you're really picking up on their energy because you're actually within each other's fields. And not to mention that our thoughts are actually sending out energy as well that can get attached to our energetic fields. And they call this quantum entanglement. And I recommend, I'm not going to deep dive too much into all that today, because you can actually go to, I believe it's episode 1. Really, I talk about this in all my episodes, but you can do a simple Google search, quantum physics principles or basic principles of quantum physics, and learn about it yourself in like 10 minutes. And I believe this was hidden in plain sight from us in science, that all along existence and, you know, what we truly are as humans, and that we are truly energy. So have fun with that, going down the rabbit hole. But today, what I want to talk about with you is tapping into your inner divinity, also known as your higher self, also known as your oversoul, also known as higher power, tapping into higher power, because beautiful souls, we actually have access to our creator, higher power, whoever it is that you believe in. And it's not outside of us. It's not outside of us. That is an illusion. That is something that we have been told, but it's not true. Our power and our higher power is accessible through going inward. So we're going to talk about today how to tap into that beautiful, powerful inner channel that we have, and also some support that can help you to tapping into that, such as, I like to call them soul guides. Some people call them spirit team. But really, it's your team of angels and ancestors and those that are there to support you along your journey. All right, awesome. So before we deep dive into that, what I like to do is I always say, take what resonates and leave the rest. If something is not resonating with you, that's a beautiful thing, because guess what? You're using your discernment, which is your intuition. And all I ask, if you may consider, is if there's something that you go, you know, I don't quite subscribe to that, or I don't know if I believe that. I just recommend jot it down or notate it in your brain, and then revisit it later on when you're alone and in solitude and you're going into prayer or meditation, or just having a quiet moment to reflect on your day, and tap into inner power, or tap into that quiet space, and really ask your body, ask your mind, ask the divine higher power if this is something that you agree with, or ask for higher power to show you more information about it. So then you can make a well-informed, educated, truly educated decision on whether or not it's something for you. Cool. And I did want to light real quick this incense, so that way we can just cleanse the space even more. I love incense. I love sage. If you're not using these, I'll tell you why they are so powerful. What it does is it acts much like a binder, where it basically it's made of natural ingredients such as trees. Like, you know, sage is actually a tree, and incense is derived from trees. And what it does is it holds a frequency of nature. And that frequency is very powerful in cleansing and uplifting the space, because everything is light and sound. Everything has a frequency. either vibrating at a low frequency or it's vibrating at a higher frequency. And so what this does is this brings the space to a higher frequency, and it acts as a binder, and it takes all that lower frequency sound within the field, and it pulls it out and it transmutes it into higher frequency. So it's super powerful. I highly recommend it. Like even just that little bit, I felt an upliftment in this space. So it's very powerful and I highly recommend it. Plus it just smells beautiful. And we know that for those of you that love things that smell good, aromatherapy is an awesome energy healing modality, because what it's doing is it's activating whatever that smell is. So like if you're smelling lavender or you're smelling roses, it's activating that frequency of that plant, and it's again uplifting your frequency because you're actually taking in that smell, which is also energy. So that's that. And so what I like to do as I like for us to kind of get our bodies into a calm and receiving space. And how we do that is we're going to do a quick breath exercise. This one's really simple. And this actually is a method that is going to tie into what we're talking about today, which is connecting with your inner divinity, connecting inwardly to higher power. And so what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and find a comfortable spot. You need to pause this and get comfortable. And then what I want you to do is I want you to just kind of do a couple shoulder rolls, because the shoulders is where we tend to hold a lot of tension. And anywhere that you're feeling tension in your body, I suggest you kind of shake it. So if you've got some tension in your legs, just kind of shake your legs. If you got tension in your shoulders, you could do some shimmies. I love the shimmies. But because our bodies are energy, they're electric. So our organs and our nervous system and all the various systems in our body, they're piezoelectric. Look that up. It's really important, but it's essentially, we are one big electrical circuit. We have electricity flowing through us. The heart is extremely electromagnetic. It's actually the most electromagnetic organ in our body. That's why its aura actually extends further than our body's aura, because love is the highest frequency, and that's where we emit unconditional love from our creator, from higher power. And so that's why also we use a defibrillator to resuscitate people, not to go that direction, but I always like to give that as an example, because a defibrillator is actually shooting a surge of energy into your heart to essentially turn it back on. So just kind of showing you guys that we actually have devices that we use in our body that are electrical to save us. All right. And so what I want you to do next is I want you to stretch your jaw out, because our jaw, man, that is one that really gets tight. So I want you to just extend it open. Ooh, you get some pop-in action, even better. All right. And extend it over to the right and down. Now the left and down. Oh yeah, feels so good. I love that one. So yeah, try to get in the habit of doing that throughout the day, because our bodies, they know first what's going on, even before our minds do. So if we're starting to feel tension in anywhere in any parts of our bodies, that's our body telling us that it needs something. It basically needs your attention. And usually that attention is, it needs something electrical. So movement. That's why exercise is so important. That's why yoga is so important. That's why just jumping around, right? And moving your body and shaking and whatever you can in that moment will just do a number of wonderful things for you through your day. Like if you're feeling tired or you need a boost, movement is really important. Also, hydrating. water is electrical. It's highly conductive. That's why we need water to survive. So making sure you're staying hydrated, that's very important, but making sure that you're drinking filtered water, my friends, okay? That is so important and I even say be careful with the bottled waters because all that microplastic in there lowers the frequency of the water. Because again, everything has a frequency. And it's important that we're putting in pure, fresh things into our bodies, right? Like foods that are sourced and grown from earth. Nutrient-dense foods are so important for our bodies, and they're also highly conductive and electrical. And that's why it's important we're eating fruits and vegetables and grains and things that are actually grown from earth because they hold the frequency of earth as well. And we are one with earth. And so that's why our bodies actually crave those three things: movement, hydration, and nutrient-dense foods. So just being mindful of that. Last thing, what I want to show you is a very simple breathing technique that I use probably 50 times throughout the day. It's my go-to whenever I need to do a quick nervous system regulation technique. It's called resonance breathing. And it's simply, you will inhale for however many seconds. You get to make the count up, guys. That's what's cool is with all these breathing techniques and all these nervous system regulation tools that I give you, there's no law, right or wrong. Like you can customize it to whatever is good for you in that moment. So what I'm going to do today is I think I want to take in a 10-second inhale, and I'm going to hold it at the top. And then I'm going to exhale. I like to do 11 seconds out. Like I like to extend it one extra second just because then that breath gets grounded down into earth and we can maintain that higher frequency longer. So I'm going to guide you. Let's go ahead and do it now. But what I want you to do is when we're doing the resonance breathing, I'm going to recommend that you connect your heart to your brain. Okay. This is called heart brain resonance when we connect the two. And when we connect the heart and the brain, it's also connecting our nervous system in that equation as well, because everything in our body is connected. And when we're operating out of heart and brain, right, logic and emotions, a balance, and that's going into our nervous system, that's creating balance and harmony within our body. And we're able to make more emotionally intelligent decisions. So I highly recommend if you've got a big decision you have to make, instead of making it out of a state of fight or flight, a state of, your nervous system is anxious, you want to make it out of a state of a regulated nervous system. So this is one way to do that, regulate your nervous system. Here we go. I want you to take a deep breath in. And what I want you to do too is imagine your heart connecting to your brain. It can either be with a line. I like to do an infinity symbol from my heart to my brain. If it gets too complicated, don't even worry about adding that piece. But that's just for those of you that want to add that, activating the heart and the brain. I also set the intention before I do my breath work and say that I would like to connect my heart and brain and nervous system to create peace and harmony and balance within. You can do that too. All right, here we go. Take a deep breath in. Pause. Exhale. Another deep breath in. Pause. Exhale. And last inhale, deep breath in. Pause. Exhale. Very, very good. All right. So after all the shaking and moving and breathing, you should be feeling a little calmer, bit more at peace. Now, before we dive into tapping into your inner divinity, your higher self, and offering you guys some more nervous system regulation tools, because I always like to throw those in, we're going to take a brief break and hear from some of our local sponsors. We'll be right back.
Sponsored by Maryland Lottery. Tons of ways to win. Hot scratch-offs like big money, where a $5 ticket could net you $50,000, or the $2 Monopoly ticket with a top prize of $10,000. Go to mdlottery.com for all the details. Plus, you can download the app and scan your tickets to see if you're a winner. Must be 18 to play. Please play responsibly. Sponsored by Lawn Squad. Quick and easy quote, and you can be on your way to having the best lawn in the neighborhood. Watch the progress as Brian from Lawn Squad brings Danny's lawn back to life. Visit lawnsquad.com.
All right, welcome back, guys. All right, so tapping into your inner divinity. I love this subject because it's so important. It's so important because in a world where we're told to follow directions, follow what everybody is saying, what everybody, what we're getting flooded with on social media, what we're being, programmed in at school and at work. And, everybody wants to tell us how we're supposed to think. But the reality is that nothing outside of us is ever going to be as good of a compass as your internal compass, your internal divinity. And when I say internal divinity or inner divinity, I mean literally tapping into God, higher power, whoever it is you believe in. Again, I don't care what you believe in. I mean, whoever you see as your creator and your higher power, that's who I'm talking about. That you actually have direct access to higher power. Fascinating, right? And so the way into that is through your heart. And that's another thing in today's society is we've been very much programmed to lead with our logic, lead with our brain and not our heart. And I'm here to tell you, my friends, that that's old news because we've entered the age of Aquarius. We are raising in consciousness. We are tapping into higher frequencies from our creator. And those frequencies are of pure love and light. And we are now moving away from just that logic-based thinking and moving into that heart-based thinking, right? But really that balance between the two, that is the sweet spot, that balance that we found when we were doing the heart-brain resonance breathing. That is where we want to be. And a lot of folks ask me, Britt, how do you channel the divine? How do you do that? And that's what I want to share with you today, because I'm not special, guys. I'm just here to basically share the knowledge that I've been provided by going inward, by convening with higher power and learning all these things so then I can come and communicate it to you guys and guide you or, just provide the resources so you can do it all yourself, because that is what we have been, where we have been, more or less, there's been an illusion there that, everything is outside of us, that, we have to heal our body outside of us, that we have to seek answers outside of us. And the reality is that we actually are our own healer. I've actually healed myself from tapping inward to higher power and accessing higher power's guidance, light, frequency. We are a fractal of light from higher power. I want you to think about that for a second, that we are literally a fractal of light, because we are light and sound, right? What is the first verse of the Bible? Let there be light. We are literally light. and a fractal of the divine. We are meant to actually not just follow, like, I always use Jesus Christ as an example. Jesus Christ has taught us a lot, but we're not meant to just worship Jesus Christ. We're actually supposed to act and do as Jesus Christ did. We're supposed to be living proof of our Creator, which is living out of unconditional love and light. And so how I learned to do this is, first and foremost, if you do not have a meditation practice, highly recommend that you adopt one. And I know a lot of folks say, I can't do that. But I'm here to tell you, you can, because I used to say that. And also that words are spells. So be careful what you say, try not to be using the I can't, because guess what? You're a multi-dimensional being and you can do anything you put your mind to. And what it's called is creating a neural pathway in the brain. I don't know if you've ever seen that imagery where there's actual imagery of two neurons connecting and creating a neural pathway. And those neural pathways essentially then communicate through our nervous system down into our spine and spread throughout our entire body. So that's how we're able to pick up on new habits, how we pick up on new programs, right? And so a lot of what we're doing here on this planet, to be honest with you, is deprogramming the things that are not for our highest and greatest good and programming new things, creating new neural pathways. And meditation is one of those neural pathways that you definitely want to create. And so if you need support with that, we do that over here at Willow Well. So my business or my company is Willow Well. Check out willowwell.org if you're interested in learning more about it. But we do all things energy healing over there. We offer Reiki sessions, expansion sessions. Woo, excuse me. Mercury retrograde is in full effect right now. So if I'm fumbling on my words, that is why. But yes, so I help folks expand their consciousness. I help folks with ascension, which is essentially ascending and raising in consciousness. I help folks clear their chakras and balance their chakras. Our chakras are the energy centers within our energetic body. I also offer energy healing patches as well. So lots of great things over there, but meditation is something that everybody should be doing absolutely 100% every day. I actually did an episode on meditation. If you go back earlier on, maybe the third or fourth episode, I'll drop that link in the comments so you have that one. But essentially, how I learned meditation is I started listening to guided meditations. So I just went on YouTube, good old YouTube, and I searched guided meditations and on whatever I was trying to achieve, because there's literally a guided meditation on anything you want. If you want to reduce anxiety, if you want to connect with higher power, if you want to balance your heart chakra, you can literally just search on YouTube and find it. Now, if you get somebody who's guiding the meditations, a practitioner that you do not resonate with, you do not like their voice, you do not like their mannerisms, whatever it is, because you know what? The simple fact is that we're energy and we don't resonate with everybody. My recommendation is find another video. Don't force yourself through that video, please, because that can cause you to be like, nope, it didn't agree with me. Well, of course it didn't agree with you, because that was a completely different frequency that didn't agree with you. So my recommendation is look for a practitioner who agrees with you. If you go to Willow Well Wellness Community on YouTube, I've got a couple great meditations on there. And on Instagram, Willow Well Wellness Community, I post a variety of things on there as well. So just know that that's a resource for you. But my recommendation is that you also find something called your personal sanctuary. And this is something that I've created for myself and then share with my clients and teach them how to connect in with your personal sanctuary. Your personal sanctuary is an exclusive place only for you. Nobody else knows where it is. Nobody else knows how to access it, but it's a place where you can go, where it's peaceful and it's quiet and you're in solitude, and you can reach a state of nervous system regulation and calmness and tap into your inner divinity. My particular spot is in nature, because nature is one of the highest frequencies that you can tap into. So I recommend establishing a place in nature if that's your thing. But obviously, it could be anywhere. It could just be a room with white walls. If that's what relaxes you, then that's perfect. And so once you get to that place and you do that resonance breathing that we talked about for, I'd say, 2 to 3 minutes, just to get your body in a state of nervous system regulation, calm, and you lay back and you close your eyes. You can put calming music on. Again, you can do guided meditation, or you can even just allow your thoughts to run free, right? But really releasing the thoughts, but allow yourself to just focus on your personal sanctuary. Let your senses come alive. What do you hear? Is it birds? Is it the waves crashing? What do you smell? Is it the smell of the pine trees or the smell of salt? What do you hear? Is it the seagulls? Is it the crickets? What is it that you're feeling around you? Are you feeling the earth under your sit bones or your feet? Are you feeling water splashing on your skin? And really allow yourself to get lost in those moments of your senses coming alive. And then always before meditation, I should have said this earlier, is setting intentions. So every time you go into that state of meditation, want to say, divine spirit, higher power, I set the intentions to put my body into a state of homeostasis. Homeostasis, by the way, is the state in which your body heals expeditiously, where stem cells start to be come out of dormancy and your cells start to be restored to a younger, healthier state. So homeostasis is the place to be. You can also, set intentions that you just want to reduce anxiety, whatever it is. Make sure you set your intentions for that meditation, because that is so powerful. And so what I recommend to establish the habit or create that neural pathway, because it's what they've actually tested this, and it's 21 days. I think it's 3 weeks to establish a habit. So making sure that you are building up to that, right? Don't do too much too fast, because, when we do something too much too fast, we can get burnt out. And then we're like, 4 days later, nope, not for me. So I recommend easing into it. The first week, 5 minutes a day. Second week, 10 minutes a day. Third week, 20 minutes a day. Fourth week, 30 minutes a day. That to me is the sweet spot, 30 minutes a day. But, again, everybody has their different sweet spots. So, and if you need support, reach out to me, or if you have any questions, let me know. And the next thing to access our inner divinity is putting your body into a state of nervous system regulation. And this really is a buzzword. Everybody talks about this. Oh, we got to put our body into parasympathetic mode, a state of a regulated nervous system. And I'm here to say it's true. And I'm glad it's trending, because we do need to be very mindful about taking our bodies out of fight or flight. Because when our bodies are in fight or flight, nothing functions as it should. It creates disharmony or a dissonance within our energetic field. Okay? Because we are electromagnetic, we literally operate in a toroidal field. And you can't see this on the paper because, it's paper. But I want you to imagine that this field around us and within us of light and sound is constantly moving. Think of it just like our electrical system, right? To keep our lights on. Same idea. It's constantly moving. And if there's a disharmony or a blockage or a disruption in that flow of electrical charge, what happens? The lights go off or the lights flicker, right? There's some kind of dysfunction that occurs. That is no different than the human body, my friends. And so when we're operating out of that fight or flight mode, that's creating blockages. So we're not able to hear our intuition, also known as our inner divinity, also known as our higher self. We're not able to access that voice, that light, that divine unconditional love within us, because we're in the 3D operating out of our lower chakras going, oh my God, how am I going to pay for this? How am I going to do this? How am I going to make this? How am I going to... And my friends, let me just tell you that is what the system has created to keep us in that state of lack, scarcity, that feeling of always being rushed, right? A slave to the clock, slave to the 8 to 5, putting us in traffic, which dysregulates our system immediately, as we know. So really understanding that nervous system regulation is important. And I actually have a workshop that is available that is super duper affordable if you want to learn all about everything I'm talking about today, pretty much energy healing and how you can become your own energy master from the comfort of your home for free, like free tools that you can use at home to regulate your nervous system. But breath work and meditation are two of the ones I recommend the most. You can also exercise. That's another way to regulate your nervous system. You can also do tapping. If you're not familiar with tapping, we have several acupressure points on our body that stimulate different parts of our body. But what I have found is, because there's so many acupressure points, that instead of focusing so much on the actual points, just go to where in your body you're feeling tension, resistance. At your shoulders, at your neck, at your digestive system. And tap gently and as fast or slow as you want, whatever pace. But what this does is it mimics the heartbeat that you heard and felt when you were in the womb. And that signals within your body, it is safe. It is safe here. So that's another tool that you can put in your little toolbox. And so tapping into our inner divinity, our intuition, our higher self, be system regulation. And last thing I'm going to mention is energy hygiene. And I did an episode on this early on as well. You can find it in the titles. This energy hygiene and protection is important and pretty much should be done every day, every single day, multiple times a day if you need it. And as you practice it, right, the neural pathway forms and it becomes a habit. But this goes back to what we talked about at the beginning of the episode, which is that we are an electrical body. Everything we do is energy. Our thoughts are energy. We're sending out energy to other people. Even if we're like, I don't like what my mom's cooking tonight. Ugh. That energy is going to your mom and to that food and lowering the frequency. Or, oh, I don't really like that person. You're sending that energy to that person. But let me just tell you too, that the way that the laws of the universe work, and they're always backed up by quantum physics, by the way, look up the laws of the universe, is when you're sending energy out, you're actually going to get that energy back. So I'm just saying, be very mindful of your thoughts. Okay. Because really the reality is that our external world is a mirror to us of actually what's inside of us. And anything we send out, we're actually going to get back to us. The law of attraction, right? The law of vibration. whatever we're vibrating at, that's what we're going to attract back to us. So just be very careful. But when you're sending those thoughts out to people, it's attaching to those other people's energetic fields. And then once you've attached through a phenomenon called quantum entanglement, once you're attached, you're picking up on their thoughts, their feelings, and that's affecting you. And imagine, like I said earlier, if you're living under the same roof, right? How you guys are constantly attaching to each other's quantum fields. So when it comes to energy hygiene and energy protection, that is something I teach my clients. Plus, there's a course on that as well. Check it out at willowwell.org. But essentially, there are very simple techniques you can use, and it really is a matter of you deciding what works best for you. But you can set the intention when you get in the shower that the shower is going to wash away and cut any cords that are not for your highest and greatest good. Pretty much, I cut cords with everybody, to be honest, and just ask higher power to connect me to my higher self and to God, because God is, who my higher power is, how I refer to higher power. So yeah. And then I just imagine, right, as the water's coming down, I'll imagine cords that are around me just getting cut and washed away down the drain. And any time that I am cutting cords or washing them away, you always want to put high frequency energy back in. You want to replace it with something else. You don't want to just leave that space around your field or in your field empty, because then that can invite anything to come in. So I always then set the intention for higher power to send down high frequency light of unconditional love, peace, and harmony to fill my electrical body. And I imagine that white light coming over me, encasing me, flowing down, entering my cells, entering my field. And then I imagine roots coming out of my feet to really ground that in. So that's one example of how you can cut cords and then protect yourself, right? So after you do all that, after you bring the light in, you then want to add one more layer, which is protection. So you can again imagine or set the intentions. Divine Spirit, I would like you to shine this white light of protection over me now. Put shields around me. You can use anything. Shields, mirrors. Again, get creative. Whatever you think. The sky's the limit. If you get bored with any of your techniques that you create, just tap into your little sacral chakra creativity and imagine something else. But you can imagine white light coming over you and then shields coming around you to protect you. And then imagine again, roots coming out of your feet to anchor that down into the earth. So that is an example of how you can do energy protection for yourself and for your children. It's just as important for your children. You have the right to do that. Okay. You just have to basically ask their higher self if they're able to, or how I state it is, if my child's higher self accepts this, I send XYZ. So you always just want to ask their higher selves, because that's important. You don't want to force energy upon anybody. You want to just offer it. And I always recommend using the elements to your advantage. So for example, the elements are fire, water, air, and earth to do these energy cleansings and protection. So how an example of how you can use earth is you can actually go outside and you can touch a tree, because trees also have an electromagnetic field and energy system as well. I don't know if you've ever felt that before, where you've touched a tree and you kind of felt like a buzzing effect, and you're like, whoa, and you instantly feel better. That's literally in real time, your frequency rising. But you can set the intentions for that tree to clear your electromagnetic field in your aura, and then give it back to them. I give it back to the tree. Say, I return this to you, tree, as well, cleansing your auric field. So that's one way you can use earth. Another way, another element you can use is fire. You can imagine fire burning away those cords. right? You can imagine water, which we talked about, the shower, or you can even go into a body of water, or you can imagine going into a waterfall or a lake or wherever to just strip you of those energetic cords. Air, that was the last one. How you can utilize air. Wind is actually a great way to cleanse your aura. If there's ever, because lately we've been getting a lot of those solar winds, which are part of the coronal mass ejections coming from the sun. The sun is blasting radiation and light codes towards us and upgrading our energy bodies, our light bodies. And it's creating these blasts that come from the sun are creating these winds. And it's so great to get out in those winds, because not only are you taking in those light codes from the sun and the wind, but the wind itself, you can set the intention for it to cleanse your auric field as well. Just ask it to cut the cords and take it with it and recycle it back into earth and have that energy transmuted into unconditional love and light. So just always making sure that anytime you cut cords, you transmute that energy. Transmutation is a whole nother thing that is an episode I did. It's essentially you're transmuting lower frequencies into higher frequencies, which is really important, because when you think of, the electrical circuits we talked about, right? How they're like never ending, because energy never dies, energy never ends, and it needs somewhere to go. So you've got to guide that. Once you cut the cord, you have to guide that energy to go somewhere new. So that's why it's important to set in intention to redirect that energy into light, love, peace, harmony, whatever it is. And so once you've put all these pieces together, and again, go step by step. Don't try to do all this stuff we're talking about now in one sitting. This is a process. But once you've, put your energy protection in place, you've cleared your energy, you've put your energy protection in place, got your nervous system somewhat regulated, because that takes time, right? It's again a practice to get yourself to a baseline. And then you've meditated, because meditation is so good to allow you to tap into your inner divinity. That is a combination to easily tap into your heart space, into connecting with the divine. And that can look different for everybody. It could look like placing your hand on your heart, taking a deep breath. Imagine there's a portal in your heart that you're walking through. And then you make contact with your higher self and higher power. It's all about trusting yourself, trusting what you hear, trusting what you feel. Everything in this world has taught us to not trust ourselves. It's taught us to trust everything outside of us. I'm here to tell you that that is false. It is our internal voice, our intuition, our higher self, our higher power. That is where we need to be sourcing our guidance and our energy from. You can also imagine that personal sanctuary and meeting with your higher self there. I often will go there and I'll meet younger versions of myself. Younger versions of myself that maybe need my attention, need my love, need my guidance. I meet them there. That's meeting your higher self and healing those parts of you. And we do that as well. We're at Willow Well. So if you're looking to work through past traumas, to heal those parts of you, to retrieve those pieces of your soul, this is a safe space for that. And so I hope that this gave you some insight into tapping into your higher self, higher power. Because my friends, it's your birthright. It's your birthright to experience divine in your heart, the abundance that is for you. Because that really is where abundance is sourced, in your heart, higher power. And so I invite you to try these things today. If this resonated with you, drop a line, comment, say hi. If you have any questions specifically, you can reach out to me through my Instagram direct message, WillowWell_wellness community. Of course, thankful for everything Frederick Live. Give us a follow, subscribe, and catch you on the next one. I love you so much. Take care of yourself. Bye, beautiful soul.
Thanks for joining Britt Bridges on Bridges to Alignment. If this message spoke to you, be sure to like and subscribe for more conversations on energy healing, natural wellness, and living in alignment with your highest self. Bridges to Alignment is proudly part of the Everything Frederick Live podcast network and can be rewatched anytime on the Everything Frederick Live YouTube channel. Until next time, stay grounded, stay open, and keep aligning with the life you were meant to live.
This episode is a proud production of the Everything Frederick Live podcast network. Your home for Frederick's best podcasts, streaming daily on YouTube.